really the purpose of today, our idea in running this, I don't know if you want to play along, but the idea of this is to pick the brains of business owners that are growing. That's how we position it and market it. So it was really much more about Q&A in regards to, and we actually thought, and just confusion on our end, that it was on Thursday. So we thought after a couple of days of our sessions that we did, our seminars that we taught, that there'd be some questions, Q&A, picking the brain. Anyway, that's what we're here for. So I don't know what you got, Frank. What's the any?
I'm just here to absorb your wisdom and expertise.
Okay, our wisdom and expertise is solving challenges for business owners. So, what are yours?
Mine's helping them communicate the right message to the right people at the right time in a way that actually makes sense to the receiver.
Okay, well, that's the challenge that you solve for other business owners. What's the anything that you want to solve within your business to do that?
I think the biggest thing is business development in a COVID era where you can't go do the face-to-face. And certainly I've adapted to using Zoom and have done lots of meetings with Zoom, but I like to be able to go see you guys. This has been a pretty good setting today, but I'd much rather be walking around the booths than sitting at my computer looking at my webcam all day.
Yeah, doing business development during these times. So Bill can probably speak to that, and I'll round it off. Let's see if Brian or Derek say anything as well. But Bill, you wanted to, we have set the business around the practice here around Bill's strengths, which are, social marketing, social live marketing. So going out, shaking hands, kissing babies, building relationships, and driving them to events. So there's two major inflows of customers have been shut out for us, which is live events or networking, public networking events shut down, live events shut down. So Bill, what have you done to pivot during these times?
And actually, Frank, you saw me do that pivot. What I have done now is, of course, attend a lot of the virtual networking stuff, and then just reach out and talk to people, have one-to-ones with them, find out what's going on in their world. You and I did the same thing. I think we ran into each other at the chamber, a chamber connection event. And so I'm doing that a lot. If there's somebody in a Zoom meeting and a Zoom networking event I don't know, I'm calling them and introducing myself, because, Wilmington is not what you know, but who you know. At the same time, I have been just picking up the phone and introducing myself to the different groups I belong to, the Port City Young Professionals, the chambers, reaching out to new members. Just got one who just confirmed a meeting on Friday, who's a new chamber member. Just said, hey, just love to learn more about your businesses. So being proactive versus reactive. Learned that. Also read a great book called Virtual Selling with Jeb Blunt. And how to use Zoom and network using this virtual world to your advantage, instead of just sending the cut and paste of the Zoom meeting, making pretty it up a little bit. Just don't cut and paste what Zoom puts in there at the copy of the invitation, and actually send something that's real nice, tell them the agenda, that type of stuff. So it's kind of some of the things I've been doing.
Yeah. I think also we realized, we hung around for the first 3 months, and for the first 3 months, it was all about COVID. The first 2 or 3 months was really about working with our existing clients, steadying the ship, kind of helping navigate through those complex waters. And once, things started to settle down a bit, and I, of course, went on, if you saw, with that cross-country RV trip, because we could be virtual. I could do my work virtually, so could the family. So we went, did a social distancing RV trip across the country for 6.5 weeks, worked through most of that, but came back and kind of realized, look, the world's not, thinking the world would kind of go back to normal by the fall. It was nowhere close to that. And likely once kids went back to school, it's going to get worse, and it's somewhat proving to be true in the pockets that it's happening. So especially with the university, whatever, all the different crowds. How are you going to get high school kids in school in distance and those kind of things? So so realized that it was going to go nowhere quick, and that we had to, all right, how do we do business? What do we do different? Because we can't do it the old way, and didn't plan on waiting around. So we strengthened our offers. We took a look at the offers we had and what would work. So we, developed a 6-week. We kind of modified a 6-week program that we have. And something we typically charge, the full version live over 6 weeks. It's a $1,500 to $2,000 product, depending on where you're at. I think in some countries, it's as high as $2,400. So we said we kind of did a Cliff Notes version of that, cut it back about 40-50%, and offered it virtually online at no cost. You had to apply for it. No, we didn't. We want to be careful not to let anybody in at no cost. But let's call it a action coach training camp, boot camp, and also tryout as an orientation to the action coach practice process and principles. So we offered that for 6 weeks. You had to apply to get in. We didn't want to charge at a time like this. And really go after that. We just wanted to offer have a really strong offer. So but we also want to be careful of screening and making people work for something as opposed to just giving it away. So you had to apply. It only came by invitation only or by referral from existing clients or strategic partners, or direct invitation to our existing database. So it was really a strong offer to. So that was, and when we launched it and talked about all the value that you got from it, and then when we threw out to our strategic partners the word free, all their eyes lit up, and they were really surprised that we were going to do something like that. So that was just a way to get more aggressive and have a real something exciting for Bill to go to the database about, because we just need a little something more than, and we didn't want to go out there with, hey, attend another webinar. The marketplace in general is not as enthused about webinars as they once were. So we wanted to have a far sexier offering than that. So more sexy offering, adding a lot of value. What we've done through that is we had 21 applicants. We had 25 capacity. Everybody got accepted. We've had a few fall out. So we're in our, is it 5th week today, Bill? Fourth or fifth week? 5th week. So we're in week 5, and we've had 17 people, make it through. We have a strong participation standard. You have to be on camera. You have to be at every session. There's no missing a session. If you miss a session, you get dropped. You can go back in next cycle. We're going to do this every 8 weeks, but having a strong orientation foundations type program to be able to offer to folks, but having some high standards. You just can't pop in and out or come when it's convenient. If you can't make it, then you're out. So it's been a nice tryout as well. So it's those are some things we're been doing in a virtual world, stronger offer, giving more, to be able to do that and take advantage of the opportunities we have. So there's that. All right, good. Derek, anything else to add on what you've done to generate business in this virtual environment? Any different?
No, ours has been weird just because of the, being physically shut down. So kind of just stopped there. We went from the sales, outreach, networking aspect, kind of just back to doing some testing with direct mailers, right? Mailing, getting out the big book of business and mailing, hey, here's this, and just having the staff call because of the downtime, trying to make sure the staff gets hours and gets paid. How can we make the most out of it? Cold calling, they all hate. I don't have that staff member on board. No Bill at Battle House. So I was like, well, let's do some mailers to business, and then let's do some calling on businesses that have been done team building, and just say, hey, how you guys doing? You're surviving. Need anybody who needs some free fun we can hook you all up with, and kind of reverting back to We call it being Battle House Santa Claus. You know, we do that after the hurricanes. How can we help out and help people have fun? People need fun right now. If they're willing to go out in public and be around people. So kind of nothing direct. Bill's much more active on that. In Fayetteville, the Fayetteville Chamber reached out because they started up last month doing some small live networking events and asked us to be the host of the business after hours. Last month, I told them no. I said, I don't want to be first. And so then they bugged me for this month. So that was at the beginning of the month. So we actually hosted that last night, Reggie. I don't think if I told you that or not, but kind of following the rules, wearing masks, social distancing, everybody doing that. But the people that turned out were much more conservative and didn't really care about the mask rules so much. From what I could gather, you know, everybody was doing their thing, but very small group for what they would normally have. You know, if they normally have 150 to 200 people turn out, you know, there was like maybe 35 that cycled through. So it was the chamber regulars or the people that were really just sick of. The one lady I talked to, she goes, I've been working remote. She goes, they let me come to the office, but most of the other staff members are working remote. She's like, I just want to see more people, like, in, you know, business people, and not just be at the grocery store. So it was kind of just a weird vibe, and everybody just comparing their cliff notes on you know, what we're all dealing with. But no killer slam dunk. Gosh, this is working super well right now, other than just back to some of the old school marketing campaigns.
Yeah. Brian, anything different in your marketing switches or pivots from a marketing perspective?
No, actually, we're one of the benefactors of this whole deal. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of tough to say that just because, you know, you don't want to benefit from something that's so horrible.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, the first month was, you know, everybody shut down and it was just quiet. It was crickets everywhere, but it didn't stop our work because we just we're outside and we just made sure there was only one trade in a house at a time until we kind of started getting an understanding of what this thing was. But that second month, our phone started ringing. It hasn't stopped ringing yet. And only kind of some of the things that have been a little bit different. We did have to do a meeting in our storage warehouse with a customer, an older client, and they wanted to make sure we were socially distanced. So I had them come in the warehouse front door, and we came in through the office door, and I kind of set up a little space where they were opposite ends of the thing, and we just kind of talked in my storage unit. But other than that, it's been business as usual for us.
Yeah. Cool. Good.
Reggie, we've got a new attendee. Robert, if you've got a question you'd like to ask us, or
yeah,
you can
Robert,
send it in the chat.
Yeah, Robert, really the purpose of this is the session is to be a bit more of a Q&A and, you know, a bit of a Q&A of the panelists, really kind of picking the brains of me and the other business owners here. So if you've got a challenge you'd like to talk to us about in your business, keeping you from going where it needs to go, or want some advice, want some guidance, want to pick brains. I'm not sure if you were in the previous session. So just, I don't know, type yes in the chat or yes, please, or, you know, got a question, you know, type that in the chat and we'll bring you up. Frank, did that, I don't know, was anything helpful there for you, Frank?
Yeah, it kind of reinforced some of the things I'm doing. I'm getting ready to order that virtual selling book now.
Yeah, we've become bigger fans recently of Jeb Blunt, who has the Sales Gravy podcast. He's a great presenter, great speaker. You can find him on YouTube or something like that. We've scared Robert off, by the way. But it's a great trainer speaker.
Fanatical Prospecting, Frank, is another good book he wrote that changed me about 2 years ago.
Yeah, we've really.
That's in my very big stack of books I still need to get around to reading.
I gotcha.
As an aside, one day my wife said, "You order all these books, but I don't see you read half of them." And my response was, "You order all these shoes, but I don't see you wear all of them."
All right, so honeymoon over. We're in the groove.
And we lost Robert. We squared him off by asking him a question.
Yeah, good. So what we've had to do, Frank, is really open our mind, or really fight through some of our natural desires and tendencies to go more direct in marketing. I think I've had the leanings of being more of a social marketer, doing events, those between events and social marketing, building relationships, a little slower role. I attracted Bill out social marketing, doing the same things. And, believe it or not, we're both wired to do social marketing. I'd rather do that than the more direct things. So one of the things that we're, because those are gone, going to a far more direct approach and doing things that are, more direct, such as there's, in our world, popular strategies are in action coaches around the world, telemarketing, direct dials. There's an ad critique system that we're considering as well, that if somebody's advertising, that's a sign that they're progressive and want to grow. But generally, as you know, Frank, most of them aren't great at writing ad copy, nor are the people that sell them the advertising.
That's why they should call us.
Yeah, that's right. So they don't write good ad marketing copy. So and the advertising really isn't interested in making the money. They're just interested in making themselves money and getting them in a contract. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Oh well. There'll be another one. 80% fail, and there'll be another one come into come in over a while. So having being able to look and give a critique of the ad, find out and do a marketing evaluation, not just of that. Usually that's a sign of there's other holes in the marketing. So dusting off some of those old school, what we call an old school action coach, crusty strategies, and going more direct is, some of the things that we're looking at doing, as opposed to just waiting around for things to get better. So, because if they're advertising, generally they're wanting to grow, or it's a red flag. So, and if we can offer to do a critique of the ad, a full marketing critique, that often helps. All right, so we're watching. I see, got attendees coming in, coming out. We got a bit of a small group. Nora Arnold has popped in. By the way, don't worry about us calling you out, Nora. There's only a couple of you here. But the design of this session is to be a bit more of a Q&A. It was really written up as a opportunity to pick the brains of the business owners here. So if you'd like to do that, just type in the chat, I've got a question. And then Michelle, who's the moderator, can bring you up live. You have some business growth experts here on the line for you. Cheryl, same thing. If you've got a question for the panel, would like to pick the brains of the business growth experts here, then feel free to say, yep, got a question. And then we'll bring you up live and spend as much time. We've got more experts than we have people looking for guidance, believe it or not. And then if you don't have a question, then it's going to be some awkward silence.
Do you want me to go ahead and just unmute Cheryl and Nora, and we can have a conversation?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's force the issue. Let's see here. Unmuted. All right, good. All right, Cheryl, you came into a session, roundtable. What were you hoping to get out of it? What's a piece of guidance or advice? What's a challenge you have? I feel like Lucy in the Peanuts.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm a past business owner.
Yeah.
Just recently moved in March during the middle of this to Wilmington from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But I'm actually working with the Small Business and Technology Development Center at UNCW. So I'm assisting a lot of businesses. So I was kind of curious what you're seeing, I mean, obviously we all know the situation a lot of businesses are in, especially small businesses, that, retail, I come from the restaurant industry. So I just, I'm glad I'm out of it. And my husband and I owned 3 different restaurants and sold our last one in March of 2019. So we both we both are very thankful that we're not in it right now. But I guess I was just wondering if there's anything you're seeing that is, good, bad, whatever it may be.
What I am seeing, like it's a handful of things, just business as a whole. There are businesses that are in one of three different places. Some of them are killing it, and probably a third of businesses are booming. Construction sector, home services sector, businesses as busy as ever been. Some businesses have been moderately affected or significantly affected but they're starting to bounce back, and the other ones are either shuttered or just limited so much from a capacity perspective. The restaurants and bars and those kind of things would fall into that they have been, obviously they've been crippled, but for the most part, I work with a couple of dozen different local businesses very intimately, like one-on-one weekly. It's pretty intense. So there's a data set of 24 different business owners. All of them they're fine and really taking market share from their competitors. Hiring, they can't hire. Their biggest problem is finding talent and being able to hire. Combination of reasons. The unemployment obviously killed things. People didn't have the incentive to work because they made more money not working. So people were a little short-sighted. So that had an impact. They paid more money not working than they did actually, working. So they kind of ducked. They milked unemployment. When that's over, that's kind of come back. Now the secondary issue is so many parents are affected by having to work from home, or kids, like kids and having to be a homeschool monitor, hall monitor, and having to be home for their kids or things. So that has made if I was a worker that didn't have kids, I'm sought after. The worker that doesn't have school-age children that have to be monitored is a very valuable employee right now because they can work. So being able to find help because so many parents are stuck at home, monitoring their kids and having to be there to help them through that, especially when they got elementary age and some middle school age kids. It's been really, really tough. So those disruptions have caused issue. But what I have seen primarily is that, and what we've learned through all this is growing a business is a constant state of crisis. And the business owners I've worked with have been through that crisis in a pretty intense way. Most businesses don't grow 30, 40, 60%, 100% year over year, like the business owners in the action coach world do. So that is a constant state of crisis. So this wasn't that big of a deal because they're used to the crisis of growing their business. So, and other business owners are kind of losing their stuff because because they're not used to this much disruption. They can't handle it. They're not conditioned for it. They're not in shape for it. So that is creating opportunity for the people that we work with because they're not great leaders. They're not great managers. They're not great. And when a not great manager or leader gets put under pressure, they expose a lot of weakness. They run their people off. So there's a lot of disruption in the employee marketplace for all those reasons. And the business owners we work with are able to pick up some of that talent. So for a combination of the disruption stuff. So I see a lot of business I'm working with like strengthening their team because of the draw. So I don't know, some things like that we're seeing, but really the benefit of being in shape and used to the crisis of growing a business has really made a difference. So it's kind of business as usual in our world of the progressive business owner. I don't know. Bryant, Derek, any commentary along what you're seeing in the marketplace from your, Bryant's a custom home builder. Derek recreation, amusement, tactical laser, kind of in the amusement sector. What are some trends and things that you've been seeing, Brian?
The only thing that, we've gotten extremely busy, and this has been a constant problem in Wilmington in the construction industry, especially since 2008, is hiring quality help. I have noticed that, there's some of the commercial industry starting to let off a little bit. So there is starting to get to be some people out there coming off of that industry that we're being able to pick up in the residential side. But getting help is definitely a struggle right this second.
Would you say that getting there's two different sectors, I guess, you try to pull from labor wise?
Sure.
Upper and higher scale, like the construction superintendent, estimators, like the more white collar kind of worker, and then you've also got the trades, the guys with hammers in their hand. What have you watched employment like? Has it gotten easier, better, tougher for either one of those segments?
So we are currently hiring an estimator, and there's a lot of guys or a lot of people applying for that position. So it seems to me that end of and they're coming from the commercial end. I guess there's starting to be some layoffs on that side of the sector. But as far as trying to hire, we also are trying to hire carpenters right now, and I've got signs with incentives on them and vacation and overtime, and it's crickets. I'm not getting anything. I'm really, going to have to start looking into some, obviously, the guy you want working for you is currently working for somebody else, right? That's the old saying. So we're really just going to have to get our message out there a little bit better, that we offer more, but it's a tight market. It's an employee's market on that front. They can come in and name it.
Yeah. So what I found back to that is it's a tougher than ever employment market. So especially in the trades, it was already tough and it's gotten even tougher. So the ones that win, it takes being very, very aggressive from an employer perspective. So, instituting signing bonuses, finder's fees, referral fees, for recruiting bonuses for team members and affiliates. So because just the whole practice of let's put ads in the paper and try to hire in so many different sectors, in constructions, trades, blue collar is the worst, or one of the worst anyway, one of the hardest. So the harder it is, the more aggressive you got to be.
Well, I was going to say, one of the things that you and I talked about that we've implemented is getting the word out there to a lot of my vendors, spreading the word to my vendors saying, hey, and this works in any industry, I would assume, if you're trying to hire somebody, because again, the old saying is the guy you want's already working for somebody else. So you just tell them, getting out to my vendors, offering incentive for, say, my lumber salesman to drop my name to certain people. And so I've offered them, $100 or even, gift certificates to restaurants for them and their wives, or just kind of some off the wall things to, if you get me a name and they call me, I'll give you $100. If I hire them and they're here for, a month or whatever, I'll give you $500. So it's I'm trying to get the word out, just really using some off the wall practices.
Yeah. And I got a landscaping company that I think we've upped the bounty to $2,000 of a. Now they got to stick around for, like, they get like $1,000 after 90 days and another $1,000 after after 6 months. Kind of spread it out over time, but so they want not just bodies, but they also and inquiries, but they want somebody that sticks. So if they get somebody that sticks, putting a $2,000 signing bonus, whereas even talk of testing a $4,000 over a year. So if they make it, a whole year, they get 1,000 at 90 days, 2,000 at 6 months, or another 1,000 at 6 months, and then 2 more 1,000 once they hit a year if they get somebody that stays. So really upping the stakes to be able to incentivize them to recruit. Derek, what are you seeing in your sector of tactical laser tag?
Yeah, so I mean, we were in the boat where we went into shut down, and we're shut down for, almost 3 months before we could open with still at limited capacity and being very cautious, and they find the trampoline park's going to open, but I'm friends with all them and keep up with all the escape rooms and everybody else. So, we're doing better than most of the entertainment or compared to the movie theaters still being shut down. But we initially, when it happened, and just, for that chunk of time, aggressively shut off all bills and just got our overhead down to next to nothing and worked with our landlords. So some business owners I talked to just didn't do that aggressively enough. I'm like, why are you still paying for this stuff? You're shut down. You don't have any income coming in. So just the lack of action, or thinking this was going to blow over quicker because they listened to the media or whatever source they thought it was going to be quick. So we did that. On the staff side, like once unemployment ran out and we got back to coming into work, we brought back all the really good people that we liked the most, and some other people it was like, hey, we're just not going to bring you back right now. Some of my guys went and did some work with other action coach clients of Reggie's, just because we didn't have enough hours to fill their time, and everybody on the trade side's hurting for work. So it was kind of like me hearing them complaining about not having staff and saying, don't steal my guy, but he might be able to come help you, and you guys just work it out. So you get some fill-in labor, and my guys get some extra cash. A couple of them that went and helped out doing construction, I now probably have to give less raises because they went, holy cow, I don't want to go do that. And the value that I offer of indoors, climate controlled, pretty easy, laid back job got a whole heck of a lot better when they were out there moving bags of sand and mortar and stuff. So I was like, high five, like maybe I need to do that every quarter, like go help out Sam digging some pools and see how much other guys suck.
Kind of like occupation swap.
Yeah,
like a wife swap or a hall pass, kind of thing.
Right.
All right, why don't you go work somewhere else?
Yeah, but they felt the pain in those business owners, because like, man, some of his guys just they're not smart. They're just strong back. And it's like, well, the world needs guys with strong back to do that construction work too. So the getting into hiring now, just as we're starting to get back to. And we lost some staff. One of them we didn't want to leave, but she got paid more to go work, retail at one of the big corporate companies, and said, "Here's what they're going to pay me, and here's how many hours they're going to get. And can't match it. Best of luck." And so there's some of that. But now getting into hiring, it's weird because we hire mainly high school, college students, part-time job for the most part, other than the management team. But their school, since it's all virtual, their availability is all day, all the time. I'll do class. I'll completely work my class schedule around, whenever I can get hours. So from that, millennial part-time entry level, if that's the restaurants, whenever they can come back and need staff, the flexibility that age group has is way different. Normally we're going, all right, well, you have night school, we're doing Tetris around their student schedule. This year, it's just like, I'm available whenever. I can do class at anytime throughout the day, because it's the virtual stuff. So it's weird, and it gives us some flexibility there, because if that weren't the case, we need more staff members. So now we can get the staff who do have more hours just because of their availability. So it's kind of cool. We can focus on getting them really good at doing their job.
Oh, by the way, Michelle, I didn't. You're the Potbelly sandwich person. We actually went there last week. Me and my wife jumped in there. It was awesome. Love the chicken tortilla soup.
Oh, that's a popular one.
Oh my gosh, that was good. We took it to my daughter. Anyway, we got a sandwich. It was awesome. I got the soup, and we took a trip to see my daughter in Danville. She's going to school at a small private college with a sucky cafeteria. So she's been eating a lot of chicken and, I don't know, hot dogs and hamburgers, that kind of crap. And, so yeah, I had a home cooked meal. So we were up there and she was like, cause she's in Danville, Virginia. The quality of food there is not that impressive. It's not Wilmington cuisine for sure. So anyway, but, first experience was awesome. So we're actually thinking about using your place, Tina, and my wife, assists Bill when we do some, catered type events. And she's like, we need to try this place for that. The trick is getting to find places to cater our lunches. Not say lunches, we do delivery. I'll tell you that in a minute, but you have to find some place open that does breakfast that's open early enough, because we need to be able to pick up food at 10 and it be ready.
Right.
And so that becomes an issue. One of the things that we had to pivot toward, and maybe on this end, Frank, maybe helpful for you, is we were gathering together our strategic partners, like having lunches and hosting them for lunch, and kind of treating them well, because they're the people that send referrals to us, and we send business to them, they send business to us. So we started a thing a couple of years ago that we were a little inconsistent with, called Meeting of the Partners. So we gathered together, bought them lunch, let them meet each other, under the premise of all the business we need is setting in each other's database. We just got to figure out how to, what do we do? What are the right introductions to make? Get comfortable, build. Anyway, so I'd get them together, buy them lunch. Well, we got more consistent with that and made some fixes. So we started the first year, 2020. We're going to do this every month. We did it in January, bam. Did it in February, boom. March, out. We're like, oh, let's wait around for this to get done. So in getting creative, we said, all right, we need to get the partners back together, strategic partners. They needed, by the way, they're also mainly social marketers. And we couldn't, they can't network either. They can't, do the relationship type stuff. They're stuck like us. So creating opportunity together, we gathered them together virtually, and we have virtual lunch. So we, we have them order lunch, and we actually deliver it to them. And there's a dozen of them. So we deliver them and we sit and have lunch together, and do the same thing we do live. But we tried to create that kind of environment. So I guess that, how are we responding is trying to create magic moments and try to do as much as creating the same kind of experience we would have live, and do it separate. So the challenge we had with one of your competitors, Michelle, is that they didn't have our orders ready in time. They were 45 minutes late, Bill? And this is somebody we used a lot. We've used them over the years quite a bit for other events, but we had to pick up an order and dispatch to a dozen different locations around the city.
That's a big no-no.
No. And they were 45, and the order was in the day before, and they knew the deal, and they were 45 minutes late. And so that put Bill in a tizzy of trying to play, delivery of all over the place. So it was anyway, so I'm hoping you guys can deliver, because, by the way, your stuff was awesome. So good. Good.
We got a few new attendees, Reggie, if you want to call them out and see if they want to have any questions they'd like to ask.
Yeah, if you got any questions, we're here to provide you any guidance, support, any Q&A. So there is a Dan and Neil here. If you'd got any questions, put in the chat. Hey, I got a question, because really this panel is about sharing our best practice, lesson learned, helping you through any challenges you have, any aspirations that in order to grow and develop your business. All it takes is a little bit to get us going. Cheryl asked us one little question, and I don't know, did that was that any of what you were looking for, Cheryl, or you want to poke around in some other areas of what's going on?
Yeah, I was, that was interesting what you were talking about with hiring, because I have heard that many times, and I see everybody that has signs like you're saying, and I was going to ask what kind of incentives are our employers offering, and you kind of answered that, which is amazing what you have to do. But it's a little bit crazy right now with the employment the way it is. That's you did. I mean, I like you said, some businesses are doing well, others aren't. Derek, how long did you have to be closed?
We closed before the governor's order came out, because we were open. We were like, hey, customers are comfortable coming out. I've got young staff. They were all comfortable. We had one or two that weren't, because they helped take care of grandparents, right? So they got taken off the schedule. But customers voted with their dollars. Saturday, the bookings were at like 25% of normal. And then that next Sunday, there was 2 people booked. So I told just one of the managers, shift leads, and myself showed up just because I was like, hey, just tell everybody else to stay home. No calls. So we shut it down the Sunday, a week and a half before he came out with his order, just because, customer volume dropped. Once he went into phase 2, between all the entertainment people in the bars and restaurants and the gym owners I know, the escape room owner that I'm buddies with in Fayetteville did a bunch of research, bounced it off his attorney. We found a section where we could open following these guidelines, and opened up there a week and a half after phase 2, and just followed the way that we were interpreting the rules, bounced it off some of my friends at the sheriff's office there in New Hanover County. And one young lady who works for us in Fayetteville, her mom's on the sheriff's department for Cumberland County. Thought we were good and following the intent and following the rules as far as limited customers and cleaning and all that. Had a visit from the sheriff's out at our Wilmington location, which we were anticipating, and we had talked about and rehearsed how to, as the management team, how to deal with them when they showed up and be nice, and here's the this and here's the that. And they worked with us and said this and that. You guys serve beer and you have snacks, food. Let me call the office real quick, because I don't think I have to shut you down what the order says, because there's certain gentlemen's clubs that are able to stay open because of beer and food right now. And you guys are obviously more social distance than them and cleaner. So he called the office and waited about 5 minutes, called back and said, yeah, you guys can stay open. So we kind of got the, hey, you're following the rules. Here's your stamp to stay open. And we've slowly just bumped up, once he went into phase 2.5 or whatever the heck we're in, just slowly bumped up our capacity. So the biggest thing is, like, normally we're crushing it on birthday parties for that 7 to 13-year-old range. Those are at an all-time low, but the young adults who don't have kids and they're just bored as heck, those numbers are higher. Our corporate team building events, there's a small trickle coming in, but not nearly as many as normal. So hope that helped, or if not, let me know.
Are you seeing, with limited capacity, but I'm assuming, even though you can kind of control your payroll and everything, but I'm assuming you have a lot of additional costs because of all the sanitation processes you have to go through.
It's honestly not too bad, because we had set up. A lot of our cleaning products we buy in Sam's, concentrate, so it's not terribly expensive, and then the other stuff we get from a local cleaning company, supply company. So we're getting it at the same rates like the commercial cleaners are, in the diluter thing that we have. So the biggest pain was hand sanitizer, because everybody that comes in, we ask them to either go wash their hands or do hand sanitizer throughout the games if they want it. And that, when that kind of just dried up, I was the guy out there buying 2 or 3 of them for $50 a thing. And instead of doing hand sanitizer when they came in, we had the manager going, hey, if you could go to the bathroom and wash your hands, doing the temperature checks when, and all that. And so it, from a cost going up, it wasn't terribly expensive other than that thing. Caveat to that is I'm the clean, neat freak, and my bathroom floors, like, I wouldn't want to eat off of them, but if I had to, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get sick. My facility is clean, and the staff keeps it at that high level. So to go in and implement the stuff that we had to implement from COVID, it was more so the gaming equipment in the back. We've got the capture the flag game, wiping that down much more often, and certain things that customers touch, just kind of being more aware of that. But in general, we keep up with the cleanliness and go through our normal amount of cleaning supplies. But because volume's down, it didn't offset too terribly.
What have you learned about consumer behavior? That what sectors are a little more sensitive to COVID? Is there demographics are a little more sensitive to it, and some are just like, I don't care, and which is a potential sector to go after.
Yeah. So definitely the young adult, without kids, that teenager to mid-20s person, they just don't care. They're healthy young people. They're not at high risk. They're bored. If they've been working remotely or they got the stimulus money, they've got cash to spend. from looking at all 4 of our locations, Wisconsin, when their governor opened up everything, it was like game on for a weekend or 2, and then they kind of clamped back down. That affected them. My dad's location in Illinois is much more conservative and lower numbers coming out. Comparing Wilmington to Fort Bragg, the Fort Bragg, Fayetteville community is getting ready to deploy all the time or just getting back from deployments. They just don't care. So it's kind of night and day between here and there. What we're seeing now, though, is a lot of homeschool groups starting to reach out to us. So I don't know if it's from looking at that compared, as group events, we didn't get the YMCA soccer parties and all those normal summertime activities, but now parents are just going, we just want our kids to get out, interact with their friends, have something fun to do and feel a little bit normal. We're starting to see those pick up, and that kind of surprised me because I thought that group of moms is probably going to be the last to come back on, and they're kind of been booking a bunch of those in there. So it's interesting.
So, the businesses that, kind of cater to the, hey, something to do.
Right. A lot of our other businesses that, Encino Work Group is a huge corporate client of ours where they line up their team building events, and Live Up Bank and, name My Accountant, for example. They're all still working remote. They don't want people in the office or minimum number of people in the office. So those private events are down significantly. The work groups, we've done 1 or 2 restaurants or some of the, that where they've been essential or been working the whole time, and they're looking for staff fun and staff incentives or rewards. So they're coming out and doing their events because they're already all working together anyhow. So it's kind of the office job that's working remote is being much more conservative about getting everybody together.
Brian, in the building sector, what kind of is there, construction and those kind of things, tend to straw the drink, is a big straw that stirs the drink economically here in the area. What types of, are there certain sectors or types of people that are inquiring or interested in spending money on construction, whether it be renovation or custom home building? What are you seeing? Any trends?
We were already seeing a trend of, I don't like the winter and the high taxes, and now you're getting from the Northeast, and now you're getting the I don't like the winters, the high taxes. I'm not going to live on an island of 5 million people with a crazy disease running around, and the protests and all of that stuff that's going on up there. So we've got a huge influx of Maryland, New Jersey, Northern Virginia, New York. People that you come down here and vacation, and now that they're working remotely, you said Encino is working remotely. All the big banks are still working remotely. So we're actually designing a home right now for a client that's from Manhattan. Both of them work in the financial industry. Both of them can come down here and build a house and work remotely, and just have to go back to New York once every couple months. And then the other big one too, everybody's been stuck in their house, and the people that aren't capable of or just don't want to remodel. I met with a client. We're getting ready to design their big remodel, and we're completely going to redo their whole house. And he's like, I've been stuck in this house for at the time it had been 4 months with my wife and 2 kids, and I'm trying to work, and I realize that this is going to probably be this way for a while. So here's what we got to do. So that tends to be a trend.
Yeah, I might get in trouble for this. I don't know. But your wife also owns a property management company.
She is a facilitator for Airbnb.
Okay. So manages property.
Oh, yeah.
And so one of the things, she's actually I think her and Tina were talking not long ago. My wife were talking. And she was like, man, it's crazy busy because, it was meaning, I don't know, but I think it was her. I think they talked and said crazy busy because the, on Pleasure Island, Carolina Beach, usually the season drops off once school starts, it just falls off the shelf in mid-August, and that the rental season has stayed steady because, you can do school from home. Why not, get a change, like come down from Raleigh, come down from, the Northeast, wherever, and come get a beach house at reduced rates and be able to have a piece of the beach. That's kind of how I got it through, from Barbara to Tina. Is that you live in a house there? Is that what you're seeing on the island down there?
Yeah. So normally after Labor Day weekend, we don't really get a summer vacation. So it's normally after Labor Day weekend, we usually take some time, go to the mountains or something like that. And it's not happening this year. She's booked the whole time. All her houses that she facilitates for are full, and there's no end in sight. So yeah, it's been, thankful for the work, but ready for a break. So it's still kind of crazy at our house. Yeah, absolutely.
So businesses that, how does Wilmington win, in a pandemic like this or in COVID? I think it's win. And by the way, I work with a custom furniture and design company. So they're going to do interior design and then have all the custom, furnishings to go with it. And they're in, it's Lux and Leland. And they are in Belleville, at Harris Teeter Shopping Center. And they are having record months from this business is booming. And so many inquiries from the Northeast. So, and that's their target customer, the Northeasterner that, moves into Brunswick Forest, Magnolia Greens, St. James, that whole Brunswick County, which is, Brunswick County was already the fastest growing county in the country, or they're often ranked in there. So and now there's so much more of that influx and inquiries are coming in. So, there's a boom there. So, as a, entrepreneur or as a business sector, if you're helping businesses, what's the booming market is down in that sector because they're going to continue to come. Mortgage rates are at stupid lows, stupid. Heard a little story that the mortgage broker guy that I know says he made more money in the first quarter than he did all last year. He's on track. The mortgage broker, he's on track to make $500,000. He's not in income. So, there's a good guy to prospect. Right now, somebody's been in the mortgage business, they're flush. So I guess a combination of housing boom and the refi market, and there's just so many things that are favorable to people moving to this area, making a home purchase, doing home improvements. All of my home services companies, landscaper, window coverings, those guys are crazy busy. It's a big boom there. Part of that's pent up demand, but the other piece is just people sitting around the house. The pool guy, I work with a pool guy. They're crazy. They're busy. Like he can't get a pool. Like if I buy a pool today, they do these prefabricated big fiberglass pools. He cannot get a pool from the factory until May. So, those kind of sectors are so, while some businesses, restaurants, bars, bless their hearts, are devastated. To the other side, there are some sectors that are just booming. Instead of the European vacation that an affluent couple was going to spend $20,000, $30,000 on, now they're putting a pool in. Now they're doing improvements to the home. Now they're thinking longer term, let's create an outdoor environment where the high-end landscaper is. So if you're marketing to the affluent, or your target market's the affluent, or the Brunswick County corridor from a building perspective, or any other booming area, I think same thing's going on up in Pender, Surf City, Hampstead area, where there's housing can be a little more affordable than here. I think we are set to really benefit from COVID and all that comes from that. More businesses, more service businesses. It's going to help real estate. Starting a business or shifting business or expanding to those that are to support those folks. I think think Wilmington will win for so many reasons. The Cape Fear area will win, through this pandemic in a big way, because, we live in a pretty incredible place. So that'll push and surge people this direction. It's probably a backside, ebb, I guess, ebb on the backside of that, but our area will boom for a handful of reasons, because people with resources, move to the beach. So, all right, so we are getting business adjusted to COVID. How are they thinking or planning?
You have one question. You got it.
Yeah. So Neil's got a question. Are businesses adjusted to COVID? How are they thinking or planning for post-COVID, the new normal? They are, the ones that are smart are reading the signs. They're getting feedback from their customers, and they're doing what makes sense to the marketplace, what the marketplace needs. So they got their finger on the pulse of what their customers need, not relying on what the news tells them, the CDC tells them, but they're just kind of keeping their ear to the ground of the marketplace and watching the trends. So that's where, this is a time to where the small business owner, nimble, quick to respond, guerrilla not an ape, but guerrilla warrior type mindset that can easily shift, pivot, whatever, to meet the needs of the customer, win in the short term until the big dumb companies figure it out. Derek, you got a point? You got
just holding cash too, right? Getting our expenses way down. So we're running super lean, super efficient, which is cool because the staff's doing that. But just there's a couple things we want to buy that were on the list before, like right before COVID hit. And I mean, I was literally like, it was in my basket, a couple $1,000+ equipment purchases that we need to get on. We're just holding off, because it's going okay. We're starting to come back, but it's not a necessity. It's a want versus a need. So it's we got like a list of, once we start doing this, here's the stuff that's on the shopping list, right? Or what we want to do with the staff. So versus, Bryant, who's going, hey man, I'm having a great year, and probably doing other stuff where we're going, we're still kind of got our fists up for the next, it gets worse again.
Yeah. And the people that I work with, they're looking to take advantage of acquisition opportunities through acquisition. They're buying the businesses that can't navigate the storm. They're looking to acquire, kind of take advantage of fire sale for the owners that aren't conditioned to navigate this kind of crisis. So they're fit and ready to go. All right. So thanks everybody for participating, being on the call. Hopefully it was helpful. And thanks for those of you that kind of came on toward the end and got us some momentum with some great questions, especially Cheryl. You got us going. So thanks so much for that. Thanks to Rob, Michelle, and the Business Journal for putting us on and supporting us. So I guess that's all we got for now. If there's anything we can do for you, want to visit more, come see us at the booth. Derek and Bill are there today at our booth. You can schedule a time. I'm there tomorrow afternoon. You want to chat with me specifically about yourself and anybody you know. And thanks, Dan, for coming from Wisconsin. Derek is a Wisconsinite as well. So he was born and raised there.
Where are you from, Dan? From Wausau, and went to school in Stevens Point. Typing. I forgot it's not the.
Yeah. All right, good. You can meet with him and talk cheesehead stuff in the booth if you want.
We'll talk Aaron Rodgers later.
All right, guys. All right, see you guys.
Thank you so
everybody.
much. Thank you.